This is the Kindness Matters podcast, a space for stories that inspire, challenge, and bring us a little closer together. If you've been looking for a reminder of the good in people, you're in the right place, because kindness matters, and so do you. It's kindness we are. Hey, hello, and welcome to the show, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I say this every time. I mean it every time. Each of us only has so many hours in a day, so much time in a day. And the fact that you chose to spend 30 minutes or so of your time with us today means the world to me. I appreciate it, and I thank you so much. I have a fantastic show for you today. Our guest today, Dave Lewis, is someone who proves that kindness can be a daily practice woven into your talents. By day, he's a senior accountant in San Diego, but by night, he's a solo pianist and composer whose music has reached over 1 million listeners. Through his project, Playing to Pitch In, Dave donates his music proceeds to charity, turning every stream into support for organizations like Best the Book Bus, for example. His work reminds us that generosity doesn't always require grand gestures. Sometimes it's as simple as sharing your gifts with the world. Welcome to the show, Dave. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks. Really looking forward to this.
And this is so amazing. I absolutely love what you're doing. So now, as we mentioned, you're an accountant and you do music on the side, right?
Yes.
Was there a specific moment or a sour note in the world that made you realize your music could do more than just entertain?
In a way, COVID, I guess, would have been the sour note. Playing the pitch in, I started it back in 2020, or at least started to have the idea for it in 2020. It was December, and I heard a podcast, a different podcast, but I heard a podcast that was talking about giving back and the concept of earning to give, the idea that you can basically earn money for the purposes of giving it to charity. And what I realized is that I had my accounting income from my day job, and I wasn't dependent on the money that I had been making from music. So it just became an opportunity for me to give back without actually feeling the pain of having to open up my wallet and pull money out for the causes that I cared about. This was
Sure.
something I could do without affecting my ability to pay my bills.
Right, yeah, and I think there are so many people in the world right now, they look at their wallet and then they go, there are so many places that need help, but I have limited sources of income, right? And you want to help everybody. I think a lot of people feel that way. You want to donate to this or that or the other charity, but you're just like, I only have so many bucks, and much like our listeners only have certain number of hours in a day, we only have certain amount of money that we can spend to help out truly deserving causes. And so, yeah, I totally get that. I understand it. So Dave, are you still
Yeah,
there? Oh,
yeah.
okay. All right. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I didn't know if you wanted me to continue on or.
Nope,
Yeah.
that's fine. Oftentimes there's an old saying that music soothes the savage beast. We often hear that music can be healing, and you're using it to fundraise. How does a piano performance open people's hearts and wallets in a way that a standard donation plea might not?
Well, at least in my case with playing the pitch in, the great thing about the way playing the pitch in is structured is that you don't actually have to open up your wallet to help. You're
Nice.
helping just by listening. So playing the pitch in basically works off of a streaming model where all of the streaming royalties are donated to the 6 charities. I never receive any of the money for it because I've worked with each charity to set up an account with my distributor. So they actually log into their own accounts of my distributor and just withdraw the funds because I've arranged all the money to go through them to them through splits. So if you
Nice.
don't have a lot of money to donate, this is a way you can do it for free.
That's perfect. And you know what? This seems like something that only an accountant could have figured out. Um, so what's your process? Do you have a process for figuring out which causes, or pitch in projects to support?
Well, when I first started out, I began by looking at a site called GiveWell.org.
Oh,
And what I wanted to do was not just find charities that were important to me personally, but also to find ways to, this is the accountant in me also, I guess, to maximize the utility of my dollar. If I was going to be donating money, I wanted to make sure that the charities were truly effective in reducing suffering and saving lives. So the first 2 charities I found were the Against Malaria Foundation and Helen Keller International. And what I love about the Against Malaria Foundation is that they have a separate partnered organization that takes care of all the funding for their logistics and their operations. And the money that you donate specifically to the Against Malaria Foundation, or that goes to them through playing the pitch in, just goes to buying the bed nets that they supply, which reduce malaria in Africa simply by just keeping people safe, keeping kids specifically safe, especially at night. And
yeah,
then
that
and
is
then
so.
for the other ones, some of them, sorry, for the other charities that I've had an interest in, Best the Book Bus you mentioned, that's actually kind of a sad story. I I was playing with a group of friends. I still play with them. I'm playing with them tomorrow. We have like a little piano meetup group, and there's a group of 6 or 7 of us. And one of them was a children's author, and she'd been playing with us for years. And she passed away sadly, and she was a big Beatles fan, and I had recorded a cover of with a little help from my friends. And because she was a children's author, I started researching charities that focused on literacy, children's literacy, and that's how I found Best the Book Bus. And my wife chose the National Pediatric Cancer Foundation, and the San Diego Food Bank is a local charity. And then it's also based off of need because recently with the LA wildfires, I got involved with a charity that helps to deal with that situation, and another organization that helps deal with disasters around the world. So all different ways, really.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, I have no idea how people will recover from those wildfires. So many people lost homes and what have you. It's
Yeah,
absolutely horrifying.
yeah.
Um, have you ever seen a specific piece of music bridge a gap between 2 people who were previously at odds? That's an off the wall, out of the box kinda question, I think.
I think music definitely has the power to do that. I look at my wife and I'm amazed by how eclectic her tastes are. She passionately loves opera and country music, and you tend to find that a lot of fans from those 2 types of music tend to come from very different backgrounds. But
Yeah.
I've seen that you really can bring people together through music and through different styles, and kind of broaden their horizons to appreciating different types of styles of music. And also sometimes you find that people come from very different backgrounds and like the same music, and it definitely can bridge the gap in that way too. So
Yeah. Yeah, I would never picture s one person liking opera and country
yeah,
'cause
she's very
they're 2
eclectic.
very different kinds of music, right?
Yeah.
But you know what? That's good, though.
Hmm.
Diversity.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So and I'm sure that and we kinda touched on this a second ago, many people there's a lot of people that want to help, but feel their contribution is too small, and I know you touched on that. What would you say to the person who thinks they don't have a grand piano level of talent to offer the world?
Everybody finds their own unique way to contribute and give back to the world. It doesn't have to be necessarily money coming out of your wallet. It
Right.
can be time. It can be other resources that you can provide if you have maybe not a grand talent, but skills that you possess that can help contribute. We all find our own ways. I came across a website the other day. It's a browser called Ecosia, Ecosia. It's like basically a browser, just like Google, except that all the money goes to planting trees. So
Oh,
it's amazing how people are finding ways to help where you don't even have to spend money, different ways where you can just, through your normal daily activities, find ways to help charities.
yeah, and there are limitless ways, and some we may not even know about. Um, I'm sure there's a lot I don't know about, but
What I what I would say, if I could say one more thing on that, is
mhm,
that
absolutely.
if you if your listeners have a passion or an interest, something that they love to do, maybe when they were younger, and as they've grown older in life, they've had to reprioritize how they spend their time. Returning to that passion can have multiple rewards. First of all, it's going to enhance your own life because when you return to it, you're doing something you love that you probably missed, and you can regain a sense of self that you may have lost from the
Yep.
past. But in addition, if you love doing it, you're probably going to spend a fair amount of time doing it. And sooner or later, if you have to be someplace to do it, somebody may pay you money to be there, or somehow may find a way to earn money at it, even if it's a small amount. And if you're not dependent on those funds, that can be a way for you to donate financially. Um, but if you don't find that, you can still just donate your time. Whatever it is that you loved to do, you can bring it back in, and there's just incredible benefits from it. And if you can marry what you love to do with causes that you really care about, it gives you a sense of purpose that you wouldn't believe.
Honestly, that's the stuff, right? That's the juice right there is if you're doing something you love and you're helping out others while you're doing it, I mean, that's like the perfect scenario, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, so your website, and there'll be a link to your website. It's davelewispiano.com, right?
Yes, yes, yes,
Yep.
it is. Then there's a separate link to through that you can link to Playing to Pitch In and get a
Right.
little bit more
That's
information about each of the charities that we help.
right there. Um,
I do want to say actually,
yeah,
and I just
go
said
ahead.
we. I want to bring that up also. Playing the Pitch In started out as me, but we've actually had 9 other musicians donate music to it now. So it's which is what I really wanted. It's growing and it's going beyond me. So if you listen and you don't like some of the music, my own stuff, you might like something that somebody else has donated to it. So
So you have different styles.
it's all pretty much the same style. It's all relaxing solo piano, but it's different artists. And I'm an accountant. I'm not a professional pianist, but I've had professional pianists record under Playing the Pitch in, very successful ones,
Oh,
and
wow.
with really great quality music. So yeah.
Fantastic. Well, okay, on your website, you mentioned the power of community. How do you balance being the lead performer? And you just said you're really not the lead performer, but maybe you are the lead performer with the need to make the audience feel like they are the ones making the impact.
That's a great question. Specifically with Playing the Pitch In, what I love about this model is that I see that it is more of a fundraising collaboration between myself or the other artists who have donated songs and the listener. If we just put songs out there and nobody listens to the music, no money gets donated. We don't raise anything. But this
Right.
is a way where the listener can collaborate with the artist. And I mean, what I really would love to see is this model be taken on by other artists, successful ones that are much larger than me in the pop world, jazz world, different styles. And if that were to happen, a collaboration on that level could do an immense amount of good.
So much. If you had, this is not one of the questions I had planned on, but all of a sudden I just thought about it. If you could have anybody else get involved with this, a big name star, musician, who would be your daydream performer?
So I guess there's two ways to look at that question. One of them would be my first instinct is to say that I would want to look at the Taylor Swifts of the world or whoever has the absolute maximum exposure, simply because that would be to do the most amount of good, to raise the most amount of money for charity.
Sure.
I mean, if you're asking me who I would love to donate to playing the pitch in, from an instrumentalist standpoint, I would love to have the piano guys donate, and I have reached out to them. That would be a lot of fun. And I also am a huge Billy Joel fan. I would love to have him donate. I'm interested also. I've thought of trying to get a hold of Billie Eilish,
Oh,
simply because I'm vegan. Also, she's vegan, and her mom runs a vegan charity that I'm thinking about getting involved with, and just our interests kind of align in that way. So
sure.
there are a lot of artists I would love to work with.
Yeah, and I mean, Taylor Swift and Billie Eilish, they both do a lot of charitable stuff, right?
Yes, yes, very
But
much
I
so.
think when I promote this episode on um my social medias, I'll just tag those people. I'll just tag them all.
Sure, you never know.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot, but
No, that's great.
maybe how about Pink? I don't know. Is she a musician? She
I was thinking about her today actually, and she is I've seen her in concert. She's doing a tour right now. She's coming here in May, and the
oh,
concert tour she's on is actually raising money for cancer. It's a whole series of them, and they're raising money for cancer research. So I'm very tempted to look into going to see her again. I'm seeing Paul Simon in June, so I don't know if I'll get to see
oh
her
my
too.
god.
But yeah,
I would give my left something big toe to see Paul Simon.
yeah, I've never seen him, so yeah, bucket list item for me.
For sure. I remember years ago, um, when Billy Joel and Elton John toured together, and they were coming to the city that I lived in. I'm like, and the tickets were quite expensive because
Oh yeah.
tickets are very expensive these days. And I'm like, yeah, but how many more opportunities am I going to have to see these two absolute legends together? They ended up coming like 4 more times together. So
I've seen them both separately, but the last thing I went to, which was really inspiring and ties into all of this,
was
was
it?
Jason Mraz, and I really like his music. And he had $30 tickets to a show, so I took
Oh,
my wife and daughter. This was a couple of
yes.
weeks ago, and he actually only ended up performing a couple of songs. What the show was it was his foundation, and all of these different music organizations and artistic organizations that he's raised money for and donated to, and they all were performing and displaying their art. And it was incredibly inspiring. He was there, and he was basically like hosting the event. Um,
Okay.
and he did perform a couple of songs, but it was still, and my wife and daughter loved it too, even though it wasn't really him performing the whole time. But I was thinking about playing the pitch in the entire time. I say that I reached out recently to Billie Eilish. He lives about 30 minutes from my house.
Jason
So
Mraz?
yeah, he's local. He's in San Diego. So I'm kind of thinking of like cyber stalking him and trying to see if there's a way I can actually meet him at some point
Do
and
it.
talking to him about playing the pitch in.
I do love his musical style. It's quirky, but it's fun.
Yeah,
There is nothing that he doesn't sing that is not immediately an earworm.
he's a great lyricist.
Yeah, yeah, and he does a lot of scat too, doesn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's what you call it, is it?
Yeah, he's got
Either
like a
way,
very jazzy style, and the way he kind of does that beep bada ba bada kind
yeah,
of thing. Yeah.
that's what I was talking about. Okay, we should get back to the
Okay.
question.
Yeah.
We
No
kinda went off
worries.
on a tangent there, didn't we? So what is one pitch-in project that stays with you, when you saw the direct result of your music changing someone's life?
So, Best the Book Bus is actually based out of Tampa. And what Best the Book Bus is it's this woman named Jennifer years ago got a bus that she named after her mom. And she basically reached out and got a bunch of books. And she went to areas where the kids are suffering from basically they're just in lower socioeconomic areas where they live and they don't have
Yeah.
as much of an opportunity to build a home library. And she would go and she would read them a book, and then she would have them choose a book from the bus, and she would help them start to build their own home library and a love for reading. And it's really inspiring what she did. But the nice thing was at the time, my parents were living in Tampa. I live in San Diego. So
Okay.
I flew out on a visit and I contacted Jennifer and let her know, I'm going to be in town. And she didn't just invite me to meet me at her bus. She actually brought me to one of the schools and brought me to a site where I actually got to see her do a presentation and give out books. I got to give out books, and it was just really amazing because doing what I do with music, I love it, but it was really nice to have that hands-on experience with one of the charities.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because sometimes you don't always see, you know, where your money is going to, right? Or, I mean, you know what kind of work they do, but you don't get to see it up close firsthand. That's
So,
pretty special.
so it's funny. It's interesting that you mentioned that, and that there is real value in that. But kind of what I've done goes kind of in a bit of a different direction. I one of the things that inspired me about that first podcast was a thought experiment. And it goes like this, if I can share it.
Please.
You're you're walking down the street and you just bought a new set of clothes. You're wearing a brand new outfit. You really like it. You're feeling pretty good about yourself. And as you're walking, you walk by a little lake and you see a kid in the lake, young kid, and his arms are flailing around. You can tell he's drowning. It's kind of scary. He's drowning.
Yeah.
Now you have two choices. You can either keep on walking and save your clothes, or you can jump in and try to save the kid drowning in the lake. Now, pretty much only a monster is going to say, I'm not going to save that kid in the lake. You're going to save that kid in the lake.
Right.
But chances are, if you do that, many, many years from now, as you're reflecting on your life and all the things you've done, most likely when you look back on that kid that you saved, that's going to be one of the most important things you've ever done with your life.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, the difference between that and saving a child in Africa who's starving to death or has malaria or something like that, it's just the proximity to it, right? It does feel great to be connected like I was with Bess the book bus, but the result is the same. So the only reason I mention this is that it's wonderful if you can volunteer your time for something where it's in your community and you're close to it. But I think a lot of people that try to work with charities kind of restrict themselves to the community. And in reality, you can really get more bang for your buck, at least if you're donating financially, if you try to help areas where it's less expensive to provide more help.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. The mosquito netting or the what do they
Mhm.
call it? That mosquito netting?
Mosquito nets.
Yeah.
The Helen Keller International also they provide life saving vitamin A supplements, and they're $2 a piece. These supplements, so it's I mention this because we feel very much disconnected in some place from a place like Africa, but
Mhm.
the amount of money it costs to save a life in Africa versus the amount of money it costs to save a life in the U.S. It's incredible how much more good you can do in other places.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk about return on investment, right?
Yeah. Again, the accountant in me.
Yeah. Um, okay, so couple questions left. For someone listening who feels out of tune with their community right now, what is one simple act that they can do today to start pitching in? And it's totally fair if you say go to pitch, playing to pitch in. You
Well,
can absolutely
absolutely.
do
I,
that.
I I would love the support for playing to pitch in. And again, none of that actually comes to me or any of the
Right.
artists that have recorded it. All goes to charities. But I'd also say, if you want to get involved with something, you start small. Nobody. I don't think you have to look at giving to charity as a huge time commitment or this incredible financial commitment. You can do it in baby steps. You start out small, you volunteer an hour or two a week, you see if you find the right fit. And with a lot of these organizations, you'll find like minded people. you'll find that you make friends, and it's
Yeah.
really rewarding personally for a lot of reasons. A big part of the reason why I do this is selfish, to be honest. I love the fact that I'm helping other people, but for me, it's just the sense of purpose, the sense of knowing that I'm actually doing something for the world really enriches my own life. And it's okay to be selfish and want that feeling.
Sure. Absolutely. Um, okay. Last question. In jazz or conversation, you have to react to what the other person gives you, right? Um, has being a musician made you a better listener in everyday life?
I think so. Um, I definitely think so. I mean, just you learn to listen with intent, a different kind of intent. Um, I listen to podcasts all day long, usually while I'm working. I have them on in the background, but I don't think playing the pitch in would have happened if I had just been passively listening. I was
Right.
actively listening and actively considering as I listened to that podcast. I I thought about what I could do. I thought about taking actual action, and that takes a different kind of listening to really receive that message.
It really does. It really does. Well, Dave, I so appreciate your time today. What you're doing is amazing. You're making a positive impact on so many people's lives, people you probably never meet, um, through your organization, playing to pitch in. I encourage everybody to go to davelewispiano.com, check it out, enjoy some music, and
And the one other thing I want to say is that in order to help, because on my site you wouldn't actually be helping, but if you go to any of the major listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, Amazon, Google Play, all of those platforms, if you listen there, the royalties actually go to the charities.
thank you. I appreciate that. Now, is it still Dave Lewis on Spotify or
Playing
what
to
have
pitch
you?
in.
It's
It's
playing to pitch in.
playing to pitch in with a space in between each word.
Okay, perfect, perfect. I appreciate your time today, Dave. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Human first, before the names, before the labels.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us for today's episode of the Kindness Matters podcast with my guest, Dave Lewis from Playing to Pitch In. I really appreciate you tuning in and being a part of this kindness community. If you liked what you heard, leaving a quick review or a comment would really help others to find the show, and it means a lot to me personally as well. And hey, if you can't support us financially, that's totally okay. The best way you can support the show is to go out and do one random act of kindness for a stranger today. But if you are in a position to help us grow, you can make a one-time gift or join one of our monthly supporter tiers over on Buy Me a Coffee. There is a link in the show notes. We'll be back again next week with another brand new episode. But until then, remember, kindness matters, and so do you.
Left or right, we all rehearse the same song, 'cause we're human first. Human